So, DICE have been slowly opening up about the changes coming to Battlefield 2042 and have released a pretty sizable dev blog detailing what's in store for the future, as well as dropping a pretty significant patch tomorrow, the 25th. I want to go through it all here and see what's in store for this game in the near future. If you guys like the video, leave a like and subscribe down below. First change right off rip is bullet spread. It's been reduced on all weapons except shotguns, which will result in better accuracy, and this is great because it's one of my biggest core gameplay issues, and I'm glad that it's being addressed up front right on top of the patch notes. They increased the recoil on the PP29 to nerf its performance versus other weapons. I'm really glad that they're starting to hone in on this and realize that it is a huge issue. I wish it would have happened before launch, but at least we're now starting on the process of fixing and getting this game to where it should have been. They've also resolved an issue where you couldn't revive players who were near walls or other geometry, as well as the issue where players were stuck in a down state and unable to respawn. Another great change. Again, how did it make it through QA? I'm not going to keep saying it. A lot of the stuff that they're fixing should have been done months ago, but here we are. That's a great fix. Glad to see it. The vehicle nerfs here are real, with splash damage being reduced on the Nightbird 20mm cannons. The Super Hokum 30mm cannons are reduced in everything from blast radius to damage to the fall-off damage. The Apache is being nerfed with blast damage and fall-off damage. Minigun damage on all land vehicles are being reduced, alongside bullet damage drop-off now starting earlier. They give the numbers like from 18 to 13 and all those changes. You guys don't care about that. Just know vehicles are on the nerf. It's about fucking time. The hovercraft armor is being reduced, making it more vulnerable against different weapon types. The hovercraft is being reduced 360 from armor to weapon damage to range to fall off to everything. On top of the vehicle nerfs, general improvements to stability are expected to prevent the rare occurrence of crashing. That's one thing I will say. I didn't hear a lot of reports of people just hard crashing. I have seen a few. They say it's rare. They're apparently getting improvements to the game stability. For an update, it's good to see that these vehicles are being nerfed and that the weapon bloom is being addressed, but there's obviously a long way to go from this point. They dropped a briefing and it's discussing the road ahead, and it had a lot of information. I'm not going to read it word for word, but they broke it down into different segments. We're going to start here with servers. They say in very rare instances, we're seeing that our servers aren't correctly registering hit markers. I don't believe them when it's rare. I actually had that issue a lot in the early access as well as when I played the day one patch. They say the team is actively working hard to identify what could be causing this issue and develop fixes, so there's still no fix for it. We're also seeing that on rare occasions, you're unable to spawn on the server with your intended loadout. That has happened to me a few times during the test, but not really enough to really be like, oh, this is a huge problem. But they believe they've discovered the issue and it will be fixed in their update number 2 on November 25th, so the one that we just talked about tomorrow. They say in terms of performance, specifically with PC, they say for all you playing on PCs, we want to acknowledge that many of you are finding that performance of the game is presently CPU bound, and not enough of you who are fortunate enough to enjoy high-end GPUs and CPUs are seeing the benefit of consistent high frame rates. Identifying engine-level optimizations and developing solutions will require a lengthier response time from us so that it gets done right. Short term, we'll be doing all we can to help offer performance improvements that reduce the load and up your frame rates where possible, and they'll keep us posted. So for me, I'm glad that they finally acknowledged the performance and optimization on PC. It was really getting frustrating, people playing on consoles being like, oh, I have no fucking problems. But I'm pretty disappointed that it doesn't look like there's something on the horizon, and it shows me that this game was not tested thoroughly enough on different builds through their QA process. It just wasn't. The performance has improved slightly with the server performance, but not enough to confidently play on PC the way that we need to play. They go on to give a more open and longer response to bullet spread or bloom or deviation, however you guys want to call it. They say that it refers to the angle by which your bullet may deviate from where you're currently aiming at. They've observed that on many weapons, predominantly with the ARs and the AK-24, the spread tends to be too high, especially when moving while zoomed, which causes problematic engagements in the average distances of our maps. Weapons miss more often than they really should, which makes for unsatisfying experiences and can feel unfair when you've done all you could to line up your shots. They say that they've made a series of adjustments to many of the weapons that aim to greatly reduce the impact of spread on the shooting experiences. So in Update 2, which is happening tomorrow, they've obviously, like we said before, they've reduced spread globally when zoomed and moving. They've improved stationary zoomed accuracy. Spread now decreases faster and earlier when pacing shots. Increased PP29 vertical recoil, which we talked about as well. The next update after this, which we don't have a date on, they say that they fixed an issue where spread would be too high when trying to fire while zoomed right after sprinting for some portal weapons. Now, they say portal weapons, but I also know that that is also an issue in the 2042 all-out warfare mode. I'm glad that they addressed it, and it kind of goes into everything that I keep saying after every fix that they talk about is, how did it make it through QA? How did you guys observe from player reports that it's an unsatisfying experience? Did anybody at DICE, Ripple Effect, or EA play this game on even a semi-competitive level? Like, you don't have to be a fucking sweaty tryhard to know that the gunplay on the ARs are trash. How did anybody not touch this before launch? I'm glad it's being addressed, don't get me wrong, but it's for me, this whole post is leaving more questions than answers going through this post. They say with Update 3, which apparently according to this is arriving early December, there's a whole bunch of quality of life enhancements coming to the game, and they say that it's their biggest update since launch, which, I mean, it just launched, so that's not really saying much. The user interface. They're apparently improving the collection screens to make them easier to use. They're improving the ways in which you're able to manage attachments, to reduce the number of buttons you have to click, to reduce the number of interactions. They're enhancing the player card screen and a new end of round screen to add additional polish. They've added new markers to make your newly unlocked items easier to find. They've improved the reported player flow, specifically around toxicity and cheating reports. They're improving the experience between the end of round and the main menu. They're improving matchmaking reliability, improving cross-play invite flows, progression and unlocks. So you're going to be having an introduction of weekly missions, providing a set of challenges that reward cosmetic unlocks. That's actually a really nice one for content. They're improving overall XP rank tracking and reliability. They fixed an issue that was not properly awarding XP for Angel resupplies. Rendering. They've addressed a variety of visual flickering and stuttering issues. They're addressing improvements to water rendering when you're aiming down sight. They've addressed multiple graphical issues affecting water reflections, improvements to artifacts affecting DLSS implementation. There's a lot of information here, guys. I'm literally just ripping through the most important ones. There's apparently over 150 individual fixes, small changes, and improvements across all of the maps in the game. Visual glitches such as lens flare, visible seams in the sky dome, improved level geometry issues across all levels, including issues of players getting snagged or trapped. Addressed issues affecting local audio placement. They're doing a bunch of UX improvements to Portal, so they added server info, support for server admins to write server messages. Yeah. They're adding new team and free-for-all Gunmaster templates to Portal, rush game mode layouts for all 2042 like all-out warfare maps, and they're also adding an official template for vehicle team deathmatch for Portal, which I thought that was just 2042 at this point, but I'm glad to see that they're adding more content over there. For Battlefield Hazard Zone, there's a bunch of changes: extraction zone smoke visibility, improvements to the visual presentation of the currency system in the front end of Hazard Zone. They added an animation and an audio cue when the player's remaining balance changes in the lobby. So just a bunch of quality of life improvements to expect in December. I actually think that with these two updates, the game is now on the right track to becoming a proper Battlefield game. I think at the end of December, I think that would be a good place to call this game a beta to show off to people, just based on what we're seeing here. And of course, a lot of this stuff could change. Again, this is a roadmap. This is like what they have planned for the future. And between now and the beginning of December, things might change. Here's what I will say. I'm not happy with the state of the game, and I don't think I'm going to be happy with the state of the game after these 2 updates come out as well. But I'm sticking around to see where this game goes, because like everybody knows, when it comes to Battlefield, there is going to be a good game eventually if history is anything to go off of. I don't know what that game looks like. I don't know if that means that they need to take out the specialists. I really don't see them doing that at this point. I'm here for the long run, but I really hope that this game turns into something that a lot of people really, enjoy in the future. Right now, reading these updates, it's not there yet, but I'm holding out any sort of hope that this game turns into something. I may be the most negative Battlefield content creator on the platform. I don't care. If the game turns out good and the bitching, the moaning, the complaints, everything that you guys see on social media, on Reddit, the reviews, if all of it turns this game into something great, then mission fucking accomplished. I'm going to have a link to the entire blog post down below if you guys want to read through every, nitty gritty angle. They go through the changes that they're bringing to almost every single operator in the game, as well as the gadgets. It's a lot of information, a lot of boring stuff that probably a lot of you guys don't even realize is wrong with the game, but there it is. I'm excited for the future. I just wish that we didn't have to buy a game that was this broken on launch. And I hope you guys can respect it. I hope you guys enjoy the coverage of this game moving forward. And I hope you guys are still with me for games like Battlefield. And tomorrow, the patch is coming out. But I'm more looking at World War III right now to fill that void while Battlefield gets its shit together. My name is BigfryTV. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.